Lots of unwritten rules in life, and there are some unwritten rules with texting etiquette that we're going to dive right into on a follow-up Friday here on WCRF. Jamie Buxton with us from City Mission. She's going to be our impartial judge.
I don't think she's going to be impartial.
I'm so nervous.
She is not going to be impartial. I already know what she's going to say.
We haven't given her any of the answers yet, but let me
No.
just present a scenario to her because we had a debate amongst the team. But
It's
I want
just
to
me
do.
and you.
Well, I want to do some sociological analysis of this.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
I do.
Me and Brian were fighting during a break earlier this week.
I've written things out
Okay, go
to
ahead.
discuss this.
In a really big font, by the way.
Yeah, well,
Because it needs bifocals.
I need bifocals. We did 2 eye exams this month. December's my month to go get one. You can only go to the eye doctor so many times or buy glasses so many times in a month. Anyway,
Are you getting bifocals for Christmas?
Oh,
Oh, nice.
you'll never know, / I'll tell you because I'll be so
yeah, you'll
depressed.
be so embarrassed.
He's going to cry.
I'm not getting the line. Don't you know? You don't have to text and say you can get the
the
invisible one.
line less one.
Because of course I'm going to do that. But
It's time.
It's
time,
do you
pal.
have that?
No, I don't have it.
You see how it?
Well, normal people don't ask other people if they have bifocals.
Well, and you're saying how shameful it is right now
Yes,
and then
exactly.
looking at me and my glasses. No, I don't have that yet.
I
Yeah.
do.
Ron does.
It's an age thing.
So you're being mean to Ron.
No,
You
it's an
heard
age
him.
thing.
You're bullying Ron.
No. All these years of my life, my eyes were just, I can't see distance. Mm-hmm. And it's changing. I got a large print Bible, okay? Leave me alone.
Yeah, you can thank the fall for that.
You know, I noticed something yesterday that I'm actually going to have to follow up on.
Oh, no.
We were looking at something on a screen. We were looking at an Excel spreadsheet, which I love so much. And there was colors and I
Lauren
do.
was
I love a
drooling.
good Excel.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, they had different boxes with the same black font. And I noticed that the red box with the black writing, I had a really hard time reading, but everything else. And I was like, oh no. What does that mean?
And it's begun.
What does that mean?
It is time.
They laugh at me all the time because if it's not the right size, I have to kind of raise my glasses up and
It
I
is-
end up bumping the mic.
What
and-
you typed for yourself is at least a 14 font. At least.
I also, here's
Isn't
my
it?
other awkward
might be
theory
16.
on this. Okay, so if you look at the paper,
Oh, good heavens. That is
now,
quite large.
It's large, but part of it is I wanted to feel better about using an entire page printed.
But it's not.
And so I felt like the more space,
still like a quarter of a page.
the more space I could take
Enter,
up on,
enter,
the,
enter.
on the page,
Need a paragraph break here.
the less I'd feel guilty about printing it.
Don't you have like a notebook you can just jot some quick thoughts
I was
down
going to say, you
on?
write notes on
Not
everything.
this scraggly handwriting.
How do you understand me? I don't even know. That's the answer to that. Okay, so texting etiquette.
Okay.
Let's-
Enough diversion.
Let's just say I text you,
Yeah.
hey, Jamie, I'm looking forward to talking with you on the show tomorrow.
Okay.
Now what happens? Is it over? Or are you going to reply in some way?
I'm going to reply in some way, even
Like-
though it really didn't need a reply.
Okay, why will you do that?
Don't.
Well, I can't ask why.
No, because I know what you're doing. You're trying to get her on your side. That's what you're doing because she gave an answer that was like mine.
No, she did not.
Her second half, yes,
So-
she did.
Oh, yeah.
Daria, help me.
Thank you, Ron.
The
Okay,
second
take
half.
You're
over.
on your own, Jamie.
Take over. Take over.
If the text does not require a response, I am not required to respond.
That is true.
We can't just go on forever and ever. And
That's an extreme view of my position. Thank you.
no, you're changing your position.
No,
What you're
I'm
doing.
not. I'm not.
Because what you're saying is that everything requires a response. And people who reply to us saying like, oh, I hate to agree with Brian, but to not reply to a text is so rude. I'm not talking about, hey, Lauren, I'm so excited to meet you at lunch. I'm talking about, I asked Ron a question. I said, hey, Ron, what is that one Sonic song called? Someone asked us that the other day. And so I asked Ron to get me the song name. And he replied, never once. Am I supposed to respond
No.
to that?
No.
But
No.
you were saying I did, that I have to respond to it because it's a text.
Sometimes it requires an emoji like
No, it
thumbs up.
doesn't.
I'm going to go ahead. I think I agree with Lauren is where I'm landing. However, I'm going to go with the old lady answer, which will make my kids cringe right now. That is why you can love or heart
That's
or
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he thinks I have to emoji react to everything.
Now, let me be a Christian and be a peacemaker.
Oh, now you want to be a peacemaker?
now that you've stirred the complete pot.
I would like
After
to
you were fighting with
acknowledge,
me?
Like, I felt very, like, as I analyzed this discussion on my drive home the other day, I thought to myself, wow, Lauren really is my friend.
Okay.
Because she said that when I send her like a little video to watch, normally with other people in her life, she will not acknowledge the receipt of it.
I watched
But she
it.
knows
I just don't
that
say anything
I
about it.
value the thumbs up acknowledgement. And so she does that for me.
There you go.
That's a good friend.
That is a good friend.
Thank you for
I
valuing
also know
me.
he's going to ask me if I saw the video if I don't respond to it. So I'll just acknowledge that I saw it and watched it with a thumbs up.
Because I generally, I believe that the etiquette would require that I get some reaction to the video. I need to know how you felt about it. That's why I sent it to you, because I wanted us to engage on said video. Like, Sarah will send me, you know how spouses are now. There's jokes about it. Everybody sends each other videos all the time from Reels or whatever. At least that's what the young people do, and Sarah and I have adopted this.
Good for you, youngsters.
And if Sarah sends me something, I feel like what she wants is to know how I felt about it. So I will laugh at it. I'll heart it. I'll thumb it up. I'll do something to show her, let's engage here. I just feel it's very cold for Jamie Buxton to take time to watch a video, think of me, send it to me, and have me just go, I'm not even going to let her know that I looked at it, let alone felt
I'm
about
not
it.
certain who you're trying to convince because I do that for you because I know it's important to you.
I know, and I'm telling you, thank you.
Someone said it at least requires a thank you because Ron did something for you.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have much success, even though I might be in the minority in the room. If we brought all of our
I don't have any
listeners in the room.
sympathy. What happens if before, I don't know, a year ago when reactions didn't exist on iPhones?
I would just say thanks to lots of stuff to acknowledge
Okay, so let me
receipt.
read another one to you. Let me read another one to you that isn't someone did something for me, okay? Here we go.
By the way, that was a work question, and it was no offense, Ron, it was a required answer.
Right. During the show.
But I will say that I have adopted the email emojis, where I can just
love the
like
email
that
emojis.
you responded to me.
I dislike that intensely.
Okay, so here's another one. A friend of mine is getting married soon. She texted me. Also, because we're having a different conversation, also, finally got the church and wedding venue officially booked today. And I said, yay, 2 exclamation points. And she said, finally, exclamation point.
No, you're done.
So I don't have to use a reaction to that.
No, you don't. It's obvious. You don't. Because an interaction on the reaction has happened.
But then
done.
she reacted to the reaction.
Let's jump on the phones here. We've got Christina in Cleveland. Christina in Cleveland is going to solve this debate. Christina, go ahead.
Okay, so I just want, Brian, I don't like agreeing with you. But
Join the club, sister.
Me
Join
neither.
the club.
in this instance, he is correct. Because, Lauren, you say that if it doesn't need a response, then I'm not going to respond. But who deems what's response-worthy? I will say, he just said that if you, that interaction that you just had, that, yeah, it's done.
Done. Yep.
You responded, and then she was like, yeah. And so, okay, it's been established. But, yes, if I send you something, you don't have to give me words. But because you said, we do have those emojis now, you can just, give me a thumbs up. I don't care. My girls hate thumbs up, by the way. I don't know why. But
Yeah.
I'm cool with that because at least I know that you've responded. Because, on Instagram, my husband and I, my daughters and I, we send reels all the time.
Yep.
I don't need you to tell me, a verbal, reaction, words to every single reel, but at least just, a thumbs up, something that I know that you've seen it.
Yes.
Because it would be the same thing if we were in a personal, conversation together, face to face, and I say something and then you just don't react. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah,
So,
if I would tell Lauren a story that I think is amusing, and when I finished the story, she would just be deadpan, straight face, just.
Okay, so then the example I just gave where she said finally with one of those little excited, what is that? the little speakerphone guy. So that's deemed I don't have to respond?
Yeah, because there's been
But
interaction.
what if she thinks I'm supposed to respond?
Well, then
Yeah.
I don't know. But let me ask you this. Let's back up because Christina and my favorite part of your call was when you said, I agree with Brian on this instance. You're like very specific. To be clear, this is not a general agreement. But okay, so your friend said, I finally got the wedding venue. What motivated you to respond to that? That doesn't need to be responded to.
I said yay because
But why did you do that?
don't yell at me. I said yay because I knew she wanted me to be excited with her. That's why she's texting me.
Well, right.
I'm not saying I don't respond to anything ever unless it's a question. You took it to the extreme where you're saying I said I don't respond to anything ever unless it's a question.
Maybe we're both taking it to the extreme.
Probably.
It kind of feels that way, guys. As a person in the room with you.
Christina, any final thoughts?
I think that we can have a tendency to take things to the extreme. But yes, and obviously, I think that was a little bit of a silly question, Brian, because she's like, why would you respond to that? Well, obviously because she was excited, and so I can see both sides to some extent. But yeah, that's my final thought. So have a great day, guys.
Blessed are the
Have a good
peacemakers.
weekend.
I really like Christina.
You must love Jesus, and again, for clarity's sake, you only agreed with me on this particular item.
That is true. I will never again agree with you. So enjoy it.
Thank you. God bless you, sister. I'm getting a whole bunch of sign language in the studio.
Hey, Christina, hang on the line. I'm gonna send you some cool mornings with Brian swag. I can't believe you couldn't interpret that, Brian.
I couldn't
I
interpret
could,
it.
and I was
so
like,
much.
why?
Please go
He
look
just
at the
doesn't
live
wa-
stream and see if you could interpret what I was doing.
I thought you're like
Write down her
Darius
name.
thirsty.
Give her a cup.
Darius
Daria.
thirsty.
Darius going
thirsty.
like this. I wanted to interrupt, but I was like, Brian doesn't want to give Christina a
No.
cup. I know what you guys are saying. And
No, I thought I was like, okay, Daria's thirsty. You're making motions that she's thirsty. That Daria
please go get us all drinks.
has something to share.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, we got more to say on this because I don't think we've totally resolved it. And because there's a number of people who've agreed with me that haven't had their voices heard yet. Texting etiquette. When is a texting conversation over? When do you acknowledge receipt? When do you just leave it? There's intense debate in the studio. In fact, Ron, I feel very picked on.
What?
I was just
What?
thinking that reggae promo just brought us down a few notches because it
No.
is heated, but mostly because you've come with the heat, Brian.
Oh,
You
I'm
make
sorry.
everything personal.
Because Brian has an opinion?
You make it all. You make it all personal, though.
This all started with you. You were the one that came after me for saying, yeah, if it's not like I have to respond to it, I'm not required to respond to it.
Yesterday, I asked, okay, a friend had recently sent me an emoji. Am I supposed to respond to that? You said yes.
Sometimes.
No,
That's
no,
my
I'm
answer
not
now.
responding to a heart emoji.
Hearts,
Just
the
a heart emoji?
Heart, the heart
She just sent me a
emoji.
heart emoji.
No.
This man said I had to respond to that.
Just to make sure
Out
voices...
of the blue? Just a heart emoji.
We were having a conversation and it ended with a heart emoji.
Oh,
That
well,
was-
then it ends.
It's over. Yeah,
Brian,
that's over.
in your world, I said this off the air, we would never stop texting.
Yes, exactly.
Because
don't-
you
I'm
have
a
to just keep one-upping.
I don't think you understand texting etiquette.
Well, I'll tell you this. This is a common
Yeah, I
thing.
hope you're watching Lauren's face on the live stream.
Unbelievable.
This is a common thing that happens in my car because I will let Siri read me my text and I will decide if I need to dictate a text. Oh, goodness. Siri's listening right now and lighting up over here. And so my boys will be in the car and my oldest, who has opinions on a lot of things, much like you, actually. And when it says, do you want to respond? And I say, no, he'll be like, you are canceled from the group text, Mom. Like, because usually it's in a mom group text that's running wild and I'm catching up. You know, I'm 47 messages behind and then I'm like, no. And he's like, you're out. You're canceled.
Wow. See, I'm impressed at your courage. Like, I don't even know if I have the courage by myself to have Siri read me text messages.
Why?
I don't know why. I just don't do that.
I'm a busy girl. I got to listen to him in the car.
You should let me know when you're in the car. I can send you weird text messages for your kids to hear. Okay, so somebody texted when we talked about this earlier this week. Yes, you do need to acknowledge a text. It's rude to not acknowledge. Whoa.
There are exclamation points, 3 in there.
Someone else said, I hate to agree with Brian.
I'm seeing a theme here.
But yes, you do have to acknowledge a text. It would be like talking to someone in person and they say something and you just don't respond.
Okay, but texting and talking to someone are not the same thing.
I think this is where some of the generational divide is.
I think we're just so used to texting, we don't realize that texting is actually not great communication.
No, it's not.
You cannot sustain a relationship with texting. You should not treat it as if you're having a face-to-face conversation in regards to social etiquette.
Oh, yeah. No, our marriage counselor was like, okay, you guys cannot have a serious discussion on text. Because we had a couple of sessions where that's where it came from. The whole thing was over the text dispute. All right, let's go to Sarah in Akron. Sarah in Akron, help us resolve this debate.
Okay, so I have a weird perspective on this because, like, I am 25, so, like, I am somewhat younger, and I spend all of my time with kids as a teacher, but I was raised as, like, conservatively homeschooled as you can possibly get.
Okay.
And so the influence of those two things makes things weird. But, like, I would say that for my generation, like, yes, our whole lives we've grown up with people saying that, like, texting is not the same as face-to-face. But especially for us, like, we don't talk to people face-to-face. Like, we don't even talk to people in line, like, at the checkout or, like, when we go get stuff at Starbucks. Like, there's no interaction occurring there. Like, they don't want to talk to me. I don't want to talk to them. Like, we just do our thing, and then, like, talking makes things awkward. And so, like, for texting, like, we do treat it like social interaction. Like, if I'm talking to a buddy of mine and he sends me a video, that's his social offering to me, just like we were in face-to-face, and he's like, let me show you this cool thing on my phone. I would say something. I'd be like, oh, man, that's cool, or like, oh, that's disgusting and gross. And so, like, stuff does warrant response because it just is how our society reacts. Like, it totally is.
Oh, it sounds like that's correct. The bell just...
I mean...
I like bells.
The bell you control.
Sarah, I'm with you on that, and I feel so young. I mean, I'm clearly connecting socially with a 25-year-old.
Well, I do talk to the people at Starbucks and the people in line.
Well,
And
Jamie,
you're
I
Jamie
talk to them
Buxton.
all.
Old lady!
Jamie.
She's younger than you.
It's because you're Jamie.
Can I hold your baby? I'm still that girl.
Sarah from Akron, thank you so much for the call. I'm so glad you listened. God bless you. All right, so have we resolved this?
No.
See, and one of my questions is, I was thinking about this. Is it a generational divide? Is it a gender divide?
Well, clearly not, because Sarah is about the same age as me and we disagree.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the divide is one's philosophical, and this is far too deep, but I'm going to do it anyway. One's philosophical view of what a text interaction is. Like, I think a text interaction is essentially...
A social offering, like what she just said.
Yeah, it's an equal to an in-person conversation. It's the same thing. It's as if we're communicating in person. I'm going to treat this in the same way. But I don't think you view it that way, Lauren.
No, you do not have 24/7 access to me.
Well, right. And
Because that's what it would be. If you're requesting me to respond all the time, I have other stuff I'm like doing, working. And if I am at home doing whatever I'm doing at home and you're not there, why do I have to act as if you are there and respond to all of your texts all of the time?
And see, there's a difference in this where, like, I only view it as a face-to-face interaction when I'm ready to respond. Like, if you text me, I'm not going to respond right away necessarily because I'm doing stuff. Mm-hmm. But the moment the interaction begins, when I've accepted the invitation to respond by text, I treat it as if it's a face-to-face interaction. And
Okay.
I wonder how. So that's
Mm-hmm.
it's not a generational divide. You're saying it's more a philosophical approach, because I think other people agree with me on this. Not that it's the right answer, but I think they're approaching it like it's a face-to-face conversation, because it would be rude face-to-face to totally not respond to someone's words.
Yes, I agree. And I wouldn't do that.
No, I don't think you would. You're a very polite person.
I just don't think people need to have access to me all the time and that I'm required to respond. Because there was a time before texting where if I was at home by myself, no one could get a hold of me.
Right. And I guess I don't even view that texting in and of itself gives people access to me whenever they want, because I get to control when it is.
Exactly.
But the person on the other end of the text that's sending a text, they don't always see it that way. that just subconsciously, a lot of people think everyone has their phone on them all the time. They should respond to me whenever I want them to.
Now, that's true. I don't view it that way, but that is true. And I think that could be a generational thing. I have people who maybe are closer, I'm sure way older than Ron. Ron is a very young man. But they view it as like, I know you've seen this anytime I text it. And if you don't respond within 30 minutes, you're probably rude because you're ignoring me.
I get like that with my mom. Just my mom. I'm like, what else are you doing that you can't respond to me?
Oh, yeah. Other than my mom, who do I call 4 times in a row on 3 different, like, the landline, call this. Oh my gosh, something must be wrong. I call my dad's phone.
Yeah, like I'll call my mom's cell phone and then I'll call the home phone. I'm like, they don't go anywhere. Why won't they answer?
My sister will call my mom, and if she doesn't answer, she'll call my dad. And if he doesn't answer, she calls me, asking if I know where our mom and dad are, as if I am nearby.
You live states away.
Yes. She lives in the same state as them. She's like, Mom and Dad are not answering their phone. What are they doing? I don't know. At work?
Wow, so this whole sociological theory even gets deeper. The rules change when it's family.
Maybe.
We should write a book together.
But I'm the family member where they're probably like, where is she? I haven't heard from her in weeks. She hasn't responded to the family group text.
Oh, somebody else throwing down the idea that it's emotional, not generational.
Interesting.
Like it's a personality type issue.
It could be just someone's personality.
Are you saying I'm needy? Is that what you're saying? The answer is yes. Yes, I am.
We had someone call in say she puts an emoji in her contact cards for people that need response for everything.
It is a personal disposition because, to be honest, my wife Sarah totally disagrees with me on this.
Yes, and that's why when I was texting Sarah the other day, I knew I didn't have to respond.
And sometimes I feel like I have to check on her. Like, hey, so-and-so texted you. Have you responded? Oh, right, yeah. And I just, they're going to think you don't care about them.
That's dramatic.
I know it is.
Well, then there's a whole nother layer to this because
Oh, no.
I'm a person who will read it and think about what I'm going to respond to, and then I forget.
You got to
that
mark
I
it as
didn't
unread.
actually respond.
You got to mark it as unread.
That's right.
I agree. And I do that. But then Sean gets annoyed with me. He's like, why do you have an
All these,
unread from 3 days ago? And I'm like, because I
I
haven't
haven't responded to it yet.
to that person
That's
yet.
right. That's what I do.
I have a
Exactly.
friend who, you know, in the new iPhones, you can pin a message at the top.
Yeah.
And normally people use them for like family or close friends that you're texting often. Instead, she does the messages she needs to respond to, she pins to the top.
Oh.
Wow. I don't know if I like that, but I'm glad it works for her.
Yes.
I miss sometimes the pinned messages then
'Cause-
when there's
yes.
because they're already up there and
They don't have the
moved to
little blue
top.
dot anymore.
Yeah, no.
It's true.
Yeah, and I don't even, I sometimes leave them unread for hours because I'm not going to look at it till I'm ready to respond
that's
to
right.
it. Emotionally,
yeah, well, thank goodness you
intellectually.
can see the little like preview, right, of what it is.
Yes.
Okay.
So I know if it's urgent.
Exactly.
Now-
If it's something that requires my attention, like go check a calendar, like that's a lot of work, even though the calendar is right there on my phone.
And now before we get to Ron's news, I want to one more time acknowledge that I feel like now every once in a while when I think of Lauren, I think of the You've Got a Friend in Me from Toy Story. Because as much as she objects to the way I approach this, she changes her approach to be a friend to me. Lauren, that's so nice.
You're welcome.
You're such a nice person.
Thumbs up reaction.
Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.